Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country.
I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country.
In the past 4 years, you may have noticed a phenomenon of seemingly spontaneous gatherings of human-shaped piles of unneeded dough draped in what can only be described as torn-up American flags, shaped vaguely to resemble human clothing, but that which you would only find in a Dukes of Hazzard episode or in a modern-day Lynyrd Skynyrd video. These human-shaped piles of unneeded dough draped in faux American flags are called ultra MAGA Trump supporters. Now you can find them gathered and scurrying around every Trump rally all across America. And just like the Dark Seekers and the Infested in the I Am Legend movie, they huddle together, seeking the darkness of miseducation, misinformation, lies, avoiding at all costs the light of truth, reality, education. None of it can get through. They're comforted by their own darkness, clothed and cloaked in it. You can find them in pockets all around America, wherever a Trump rally was. And it used to be that only in these dark, huddled masses of misinformation and lies was the only place that you would hear the lust, the zeal, the call for an American Civil War, a second one. Only there you would hear things like this.
If Donald Trump were to be found guilty by a jury, where do you see this going?
Civil war. Civil war.
If we lose it, our country's going to hell.
I think it's a civil war. I truly do.
Yes, and it's not going to get, there's going to be a civil war. It's going to be bad.
And what if that doesn't happen? Huh? What if that doesn't happen?
We're going to be in a civil war because the militia will be taken over. He's coming back soon, and you guys are going down.
If he were to lose again, what would that mean for the country in your estimation?
We'd have an uprising. There's too many people that are ready to go now.
When you say, what does that mean? Can you be specific?
Civil war. Civil war.
Now, it's important that you know that I'm not here to tell you that elections from now on are going to be nonviolent like they used to be. I don't think that's the case, thanks to these people. But civil war? It's a bit much. I mean, despite how many times they tell you that America's going to hell and the world is ending, the job market is getting better, and all of them are benefiting from it. Most of them have health care, thanks to Obamacare. The recovery from the pandemic was and is the fastest and the best in the world. And yes, inflation is high, but it's the lowest in the rest of the world. Even through the lies, they didn't have anything to really fight against. So you would only find that type of talk amongst the uneducated, miseducated, willfully non-educated hordes of dark seekers, infested, ultra MAGA, if you will. But the elected officials, senators, congresspeople, governors, these people may have come close. I mean, of course, you have your absolute backward knuckle draggers like Marjorie Taylor Greene that would say they want a national divorce, but that's not a civil war. She made sure to make that distinction.
A national divorce is not a civil war. It's actually separating by red states and blue states and making state rights and state power a lot stronger than it is right now. It would be shrinking the federal government.
I think it's something that we should work towards because, you know, it's kind of the vision that our founding fathers had for America.
It's kind of the vision that our founding fathers...
And no one else would touch it unless they were talking about how to stop one.
Even sitting members of Congress like January 6th committee member Adam Kinzinger.
How close are we to another civil war?
I think we're closer than we'd like to think. And I used to be afraid to talk about it. Now I think it's important for us to talk about it.
To talk about a civil war?
Yeah, because I think we have to be aware of where we're at. I don't think it's going to be north and south with large marching armies. You know, if I live in Illinois, There's going to be Republicans and Democrats in Illinois. I do think it could get violent easily.
I mean, that's scary.
It is scary.
And now, just like the first Civil War, they finally have the real reason. The reason that they wanted, the only one that would really activate them to do such a thing. Darky might be in charge again. And that's a no-no. For the first time, we hear a senator say out loud to a crowd, not even a week after an assassination attempt, we might need to have a civil war.
Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side.
And it's all because of racism. Let's take a look at exactly what happened during that rally. So here we are. The guy you saw in the beginning, George Lang, Ohio State Senator, and he was speaking at the J.D. Vance rally, I guess you'd call it, his first solo one since being nominated by Donald Trump to be the VP. Now, I want to give you the context, the history, and the understanding that goes way beyond just the call for civil war and his yells for fight, fight, fight.
Fight! 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 We got time, come on!
That is scary enough. It's not like, oh, we just want to fight. It's, let me see if I can get them bloodthirsty fight. You know the difference. You could see his face and how they're saying it, what he's waiting for, the reaction from that crowd. But more importantly, you know the news. You may have seen it. I want to show you the dog whistles, the historical context, the immediate context. I don't think the news gives any of those real context most of the times. And there's things that were missed. Check this out and let's talk about it.
You know, she said a couple of days ago that I showed no loyalty to the United States, that I have no loyalty to the United States. Well, you know, I don't know, Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect a government check for the past 20 years?
Now, to an average, everyday person who may not be confronted with dog whistles or have to deal with racism in its many forms, that may seem almost benign, maybe just a bit insulting, but it's more than that. What you just heard was a direct connection to the same thing Ronald Reagan did with the welfare queen. Someone just sitting on their ass all day long collecting a government check. He collects a government check. When he was in the military, that was a government check.
I served in the United States Marine Corps.
He's running to be vice president to continue collecting a government check. It was meant differently because her 20 years of collecting a government check, when everybody yelled and screamed and clapped, even though they didn't clap for the rest of his speech, which was so boring, even Fox News had to turn away. They clapped then because that was that confirmation they needed. We knew that she was unqualified. We knew that she was just one of those other black women, like all of them, who just sit around and collect a check.
No one in the United States knows how many people are on welfare.
The image of the welfare queen, which is popularized by Ronald Reagan, is kind of set in stone by the media. The media picks up on this. The media picks up on what we now know to be a debunked myth of the crack baby.
This idea that people, as a general statement, want to stay in their conditions because they want to be wards of the state, it's just not consistent with the evidence.
Let's talk about what the welfare state has created. We end up with a drug-addicted underclass with no sense of humanity, no sense of civilization, and no sense of the rules of life in which human beings respect each other.
We must reduce illegitimacy, require work, and save taxpayers money.
Our money. They're taking something from us. His government check wasn't being taken from them. His one that he's going to be getting if he wins, not taken from them. Hers, oh, that's being taken from them. It's time to fight.
From higher education to airline companies, conservatives in America have left no stone unturned in their efforts to undermine Black participation in society. And their primary vehicle for this effort has been advancing the notion that Black people are a threat. It's an age-old effort that bigots have been employing for a very long time.
I mean, resentment's an incredibly powerful tool. It's been an incredibly powerful tool since before there was the United States of America. And people have always played to resentment and tried to make people, resent other groups of people. And they've often reaped incredible political rewards for doing that.
In the current iteration of Black people are a threat propaganda, Black success is always, in their estimation, the result of some undeserved handout. And in their zero-sum framing, this means Black people are getting something that white people should have gotten instead.
Donald Trump is already slamming her, Kamala Harris, and in his words, as being dumb as a rock. His words, he says she's dumb as a rock. Other Republicans are saying she was a diversity hire. What's your reaction when you hear that?
Do you see it? Can you see it? Think about this. This is something else he said, directly related, and the only other time that he got a round of applause, definitely not for his jokes.
When I see her give a speech, and she talks about the history of this country, not with appreciation, but with condemnation. But if you want to lead this country, you should feel grateful for it, to be led by people who are grateful.
Well, that's funny. That's hilarious. And as a matter of fact, I've been saying that these Republicans have been acting like Karens for the past 8 years. And this is the first time that I've had a direct quote from one. This is what he meant by that.
You'll be on YouTube, Karen. You'll be on YouTube, Karen. You will be on YouTube, Karen, for the way that you act. You should have just went on and walked your dog and got out of her way. She could not give you that package.
You should be thankful for
that package do not belong. What do you mean by thankful?
Thankful to be in our country.
You right. What's your name?
You have a car to drive. You're not living in a dust bowl in Africa.
In fact, it seems rather clear that Black Americans are doing better here today than they would be had their ancestors generations ago never been brought to these shores.
Yeah, it's racist as hell. It's racist as hell. You kidding me? Come on. No, you see, like the Karen video, like the lady in the Karen video, when she said, you should be grateful to be in our country. This is what they mean, and this is why they're triggered by Kamala. Deep down inside, these hordes of dark seekers who fly like moths towards light, they do towards the darkness. This is the newest excuse, and Kamala gave them the first real chance to say publicly from a senator, from someone who has the power to make decisions, if we don't win, the Civil War is coming. So why do I say this? Listen, why do I say this? Someone asked me in a live, they said, well, what are you selling us this for? Do you want us to get armed? What should we all do? Get armed and get ready for the Civil War or for violence? Well, I didn't say Civil War then. I said there will be violence. We're not going to have nonviolent elections anymore, because the minute that you say the election is stolen and you don't concede, this is what happens. You can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle. It will always be questioned from now on. It'll be a very long time until you put that toothpaste back in or cover it up. But the Civil War thing, by a senator, if your question is, do I need to get ready and get armed? Sure, fine. If you think you have the training or can get it, sure, fine. What do you think? I'm going to say no? I would not be believing what I'm saying if I said no. But whether it's a Civil War or just violence in elections, it's about being ready, and there's more than one way to fight it. Information. Those who disseminate information are valuable in wartime. Those who develop underground communication system and pipelines are valuable during times of violence and war. How do you do that? Well, connect with neighbors. You have interstate connections with people who you know can disseminate information and or help where needed. Those who volunteer. those who stand in the way of fascism and provide a light where their darkness is, those who separate those hordes of disinformation are great fighters. So no, I'm not saying we're going to do 1776 again or whatever the hell. Listen, the truth is, a civil war done by whoever, it's not like all the military is just going to go ahead and turn around and coup. There's some that would love it.
We don't take an oath to a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
I want to be a dictator.
I'm a veteran. I'm here to tell you no, just like the general there. Listen, in this climate, what I'm saying is there are better and more effective ways to win. We win at the ballot box, and then after the ballot box, when things get really tough, do you have a network? Do you need my email address? I give it out freely because I want to connect with people who have ideas on how to keep others safe, themselves safe, their families safe. You see, George Lang, when he says that, he honestly really believes that those bikers are going to be the big bridge, the wall between us and him. But when he says that, he threatens my family, my child, my kids, all of them, my wife, my mother. What do you think? There's a civil war that goes on where people don't lose friends, family members? You don't get to say that and walk off with a smile and expect the rest of us, decent people, not to have a plan. Violence is the last resort, and most likely, to be honest with you, it will do no good. There's not muskets and horses anymore. If you feel you need one of those things, fine. But the smart money is on communicating, social networks, real live, not digital. Pipelines, ideas, join up, volunteer, become a wall, become a spokesperson, get educated, find more people. Find a way to stay underground so you can actually do things without having it being found out on the internet. Yeah, I'm saying that. Be ready is what I mean. Only the dummies with red hats thinks that all the guns in their closet somehow make them safe. Intelligent people realize that that's not what we're fighting anymore. If it came down to it, they got airplanes and tanks. Please. We've got to be ready and smart. So in a way, I agree with this guy.
Condition one, be ready.
Which means
I don't know. I think there's going to be some real unrest in this country. I think everybody will step up now. In condition one, be ready. Just be ready.
It started out funny, didn't it? Not that funny. Important. I hope you got the context. I hope you see the history. I hope you got more than you got from CNN or MSNBC that will just be trivializing it or amping it up beyond belief. The truth is, all I want to give you is the truth, the context. Take it with you. Share this. Join the channel. Have a good one.